Hi, I'm Alex. Murder in Ravenswood, was it premeditated or just an accident? Let's get into it. A 911 call crackled through the emergency line on a chilly autumn night, October 12, in the sleepy town of Ravenswood, where the sun dipped into the horizon like a burning ember. The voice on the other end was frantic, belonging to 32-year-old Emily Wilson, who had just stumbled upon her boss, 45-year-old Richard Langley, lying lifeless on the floor of his mansion, with a look of frozen horror etched on his face. "Please, you have to help me, I think he's dead," Emily begged, her voice trembling as she tried to process the gruesome scene before her. The operator's calm and collected tone was a stark contrast to Emily's hysteria as she guided her through the process of checking for a pulse and verifying the situation. As the call ended, and the operator assured Emily that help was on the way, a sense of unease settled over the town, like a shroud of darkness. But to understand what really happened, we have to go back. In the quaint town of Ravenswood, nestled in the heart of the Whispering Woods, everyone knew each other, and the local diner, owned by the lovable but sharp-tongued Agnes Jenkins, was the hub of gossip and news. Richard Langley, a self-made millionaire, was a respected member of the community, known for his philanthropy and generous donations to local charities. His company, Langley Industries, was the largest employer in town, and he took pride in providing for his employees, who adored him for his fairness and kindness. Richard's life was a complex tapestry of relationships, with his wife, Catherine, a former beauty queen, being the center of his universe. They had 2 children, James and Lily, who were the apple of their father's eye. However, rumors of Richard's extramarital affairs had been circulating, and his relationship with his wife had been strained for some time. Catherine, a petite woman with a fiery personality, had been seen arguing with Richard on multiple occasions, and their marital problems were no secret to the townspeople. On the other hand, Emily Wilson, who had made the 911 call, was a young and ambitious marketing executive at Langley Industries. She had been working closely with Richard on a new project and had grown close to him, earning his trust and respect. Emily's relationship with Richard was professional, but there were whispers of a deeper connection between them, which had sparked jealousy in some of their colleagues. Emily's best friend, Rachel Lee, a quiet and introverted graphic designer, had been noticing changes in Emily's behavior, which suggested that Emily was hiding something. Rachel's observations would later become crucial in the investigation, as she revealed that Emily had been acting nervously and had been receiving mysterious messages on her phone. On the fateful night of October 12, Richard had hosted a charity gala at his mansion, which was attended by the cream of Ravenswood society. The event had been a grand affair, with champagne toasts and lavish auctions, but it had ended abruptly when Richard had excused himself, citing a headache. The guests had begun to disperse, and the staff had started cleaning up, when Emily had decided to check on Richard, only to find him dead. The police were called, and soon, the mansion was swarming with forensic experts and detectives. As they began to process the scene, they noticed that Richard's safe had been cracked, and a significant amount of cash was missing. The initial investigation suggested that the murder might have been a robbery gone wrong, but as they dug deeper, they found a complex web of motives and alibis that would challenge their theories. The detectives discovered a suspicious transaction on Richard's bank statement, a large withdrawal of $10,000, which had been made just a day before the murder. They also found a hidden key in Richard's desk drawer, which unlocked a safe deposit box at a local bank. The contents of the box would later reveal a shocking secret that would change the course of the investigation. As the detectives started interviewing the guests and staff, they realized that several people had had opportunities to commit the crime. Emily Wilson, who had been one of the last people to see Richard alive, seemed shaken but cooperative. However, her alibi for the time of the murder was shaky at best, and the detectives noticed that she seemed nervous and fidgety during the interview. They decided to bring her in for further questioning, along with several other suspects, including James, Richard's son, who had a history of violence and had been in a heated argument with his father just days before the murder. The investigation was complex, with multiple leads and suspects, and the detectives had to sift through a mountain of evidence to find the truth. They spent hours reviewing the security footage, which showed a figure lurking around the mansion on the night of the murder. The figure was partially obscured, but the detectives were able to enhance the image, revealing a shocking detail that would change the course of the investigation. As they continued to investigate, they discovered a trail of clues that led them deeper into the mystery, including a cryptic message on Richard's phone, which read, "You will pay for what you did." The message was anonymous, but it seemed to suggest that Richard's murder was more than just a robbery gone wrong. It seemed to be a deliberate act of revenge, and the detectives were determined to find out who was behind it. Something breaks the case wide open as Detective Jameson sits in front of the computer, sipping his cold coffee, staring at the surveillance footage that was just retrieved from the corner store near the victim's house. It's a grainy video, but one thing is unmistakable: the primary suspect, 32-year-old Alex Thompson, is seen walking away from the direction of the victim's house at 10:45 p.m., just 15 minutes before the 911 call was made. But what's even more intriguing is that Alex is not alone. He's with someone else, someone who was not mentioned in any of the interviews, someone who seems to be trying to hide their face from the camera. This new information contradicts Alex's alibi, which he had repeatedly insisted was solid, that he was at a friend's house, watching a game, at the time of the murder. The detective's eyes narrow as he rewinds the footage, trying to get a better look at the mysterious figure. This is the moment the audience gasps, as the narrative that was so carefully constructed begins to unravel. The question on everyone's mind now is, who is this person, and what role did they play in the events that unfolded? As the case heads to trial, the courtroom is filled with anticipation. The prosecution, led by the seasoned attorney, Rachel Lee, presents a solid case against Alex Thompson. They highlight the inconsistencies in his alibi, the suspicious behavior captured on the surveillance footage, and the forensic evidence found at the crime scene that links him to the victim. The defense, led by the charismatic attorney, Michael Patel, argues that the evidence is circumstantial, and that Alex is innocent until proven guilty. They point out that the surveillance footage is grainy, and that the mysterious figure could be anyone. They also raise questions about the reliability of the forensic evidence, suggesting that it could have been planted or tampered with. The jury is left to deliberate, weighing the evidence and the testimonies of the key witnesses. After several hours of deliberation, the verdict is finally delivered. Alex Thompson is found guilty of the murder of 28-year-old Emma Taylor. The courtroom erupts in a mixture of emotions as the verdict is read out. Emma's family and friends are seen crying, relieved that justice has been served, while Alex's family and friends look on in shock and disbelief. The aftermath of the trial is just as dramatic. Alex is sentenced to life in prison, while Emma's family tries to pick up the pieces and move on. The community is left to wonder how such a heinous crime could have been committed in their quiet neighborhood. As the dust settles, questions still linger: was justice truly served, or was an innocent man wrongly convicted? The case for guilt is strong, the evidence against Alex is substantial, and his alibi was proven to be false. However, the case for innocence is also compelling. The surveillance footage is grainy, and the forensic evidence could have been tampered with. The mysterious figure seen with Alex on the night of the murder is never identified, leaving a lingering sense of doubt. The prosecution's argument relies heavily on circumstantial evidence, and the defense raises several plausible alternative theories. So, the question remains, is Alex Thompson truly guilty of the crime, or was he wrongly accused? So, guilty or not? The evidence is in. You decide. Take a moment to consider the facts, weigh the arguments, and think about what you would have done differently if you were on the jury. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you believe Alex Thompson is guilty of the murder of Emma Taylor, or do you think he was wrongly accused? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue the discussion. Also, do you think justice was served in this case, or are there still too many unanswered questions? Let us know your thoughts. If you're new here, consider subscribing to our channel for more true crime stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. And if you want to be notified when we upload a new case, hit the bell icon to turn on notifications. Our next case is even more disturbing, and you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.